What's up, gamers? Welcome to the Safe File podcast, where, like every gaming character, every gamer has an origin story to tell. I'm your host, Gonzalez, and today's guest is Dozy. Love this guy. He's awesome. After serving his term in the Navy, he got accepted to the University of Texas and began... I forgot how to say that word. I gotta restart that. How do you say it? Kinesiology?
Kinesiology.
Kinesiology.
You just leave it in like that. It's fine. It's a hard word.
Kinesiology.
Yeah.
During this time, he coached both gymnastics and kickboxing, eventually feeding his entrepreneurial spirit by streaming on Twitch. After rediscovering his passion for gaming, he joined a gaming organization at UT and quickly rose to the position of vice president. He aims to create varsity esports programs and help prepare the next generation of students to continue the work. He eventually created and conducted an esports 2019 summer camp, which was held at an Austin gaming lounge. Nothing less to say, it was a massive success, with 100% retention rate and 75% occupancy with just a few months of marketing. Upon graduation, he plans to open his own facility integrating gaming and sports. Who said you can't be fit and be a gamer, my friends? Gamers, I humbly introduce Sam Gonzalez. What's up, man? What's up, man?
How you doing, dude? I just want to start out by saying that I did not write that. He wrote that, all right? There was parts of my actual about me, and he added in a little bit of flair, right? I don't have that giant ego like that. It was a massive success. I want everyone to know.
But dude, for the listeners out there, that's how Sam and I met, was through that summer camp, and it was fun. That was fun, dude. Definitely. Is there going to be a 2020 summer camp or what?
I mean, I'm planning on it. I don't know how I'm going to make it happen because Evo's closed, but I'm working. I'm definitely thinking.
Definitely looking forward to it, man. So what's up? How you doing, man?
I'm good. I just got back from an early Christmas break vacation to Miami, Florida, where my family's from.
Okay.
Me and my girlfriend went down there.
How was that?
Oh, it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing.
How's the weather over there right now?
It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
Is it better than Texas?
It's great, dude. Like, all right. So I was actually talking to my girlfriend about this. I lived there for like 10 years, but I don't remember if summers are bad because we went there. It's winter. It's December. Here in Austin, it's like 35 degrees. In Miami, it was like 80 the whole time we were there. So it was beautiful. There was a nice breeze, like little sprinkles of rain every now and then. Like all the plant life is like well fed and highly nourished. It's gorgeous. But and she was like, "Is it like this in the summer too?" And I'm like, "Actually, I feel like my experience of summer was that it was absolutely miserable." But then I'm trying to compare it because it was just so hot. But
yeah, okay.
Then I moved to Texas, and it's even worse in the summers here. So like maybe like relatively it's not as bad. But it's always warm in Florida. It's always warm in Miami.
Damn. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Happy to hear that you had a good time, and I guess go back and experience some things again.
Yeah, man. And if anybody's looking for a vacation spot, head to Miami. I know that it's got a reputation for being party life, but you can find some really chill, nice, things to do if you're not into that.
I'm into both, but I definitely check it out. Yeah. I definitely have to hit you up when I go up and be like, "Hey, where's the places to go, man? Where's the spots? What's up?"
Yeah.
All right. Well, again, Sam, bro, thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule and coming through. We actually scheduled this like almost a month ahead.
Yeah. I'm off all day, so we're good.
Heck yeah. All right, so we're gonna dive right into it, my friend. So the first question: explain to us first experience with gaming. How did this all start?
Well, my very first game that I remember, was Pac-Man in the old like box arcade things. What do you call this? The cabinets, the arcade cabinets. Old school Pac-Man arcade cabinet thing. It was at a pizza place where my mom worked.
So it's like an actual arcade.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah. It was like the only thing they had in the pizza shop.
Oh, shit.
And I would go there because I was too young to be in school. I think I was like 5 and my mom worked at this pizza shop, and I would be there playing Pac-Man, waiting for her to get off. And the people that she worked with would like give me quarters and stuff because I was like that kid that ran around like one of the waitresses' sons, and everybody's like, "Here's the quarters, here. Sam, you need any quarters?" They like yell at me. Yeah, it was great. Yeah, that was interesting because the way we ended up there, totally side story, but the only reason we were even in North Carolina was because we were in Pennsylvania, and we were moving back down to Miami, and my mom's car broke down in North Carolina on the way to Miami, and she was a single mom with 2 kids. She didn't really have a lot of money, so she couldn't get it fixed. And we pulled over at a mechanic shop, and he gave her like a really good price, but she didn't have the money for it. So she got a little trailer, and she got a job at the pizza shop so that she could make the money to get the car fixed. And
okay.
and we lived there for 10 years. She met my stepdad at that pizza shop, and they got married, and we moved in. And that brings me to my first console experience at home gaming. Was they had Mario. They had like the NES where you put the cartridges in the front, or no, on the top.
Mm.
No, that was
What?
later. The ones where you go in the front
Yeah, that's NES.
and you have to blow in the you have to blow in it.
Yeah.
And I played Mario. That was my first at home video game experience.
Which Mario?
Damn. The one where you have the feathers and you fly.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I don't remember what it's called.
Yeah, me neither. I mean, I know what it is. I don't want to name it, and then somebody in the comments is like, "You fucking boomer! Like,
you idiots! How are you doing a gaming podcast?" Let's look it up.
Yeah, what is it?
Mario
It's actually
Feather.
interesting. I want to say 3.
No, I'm getting random ass results. I'm not gonna keep looking.
God. I mean, you could check the year.
Nah, it's not that big of a deal. Listen, if you're gonna bash me about which Mario it was, like, get it together, right?
Yeah,
we got more
for real.
important things to think about.
Yeah. Go on somebody else's career and fuck with them. Whatever, man.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first segment we're gonna get into is character creation. So with Favorite Gamer, there's always a character creation. Now, normally, my guests have a gamer tag, but you don't. I called you by your government name. So what was your gamer tag and why?
It's changed a lot over the years. Right now, I'm doing a hybrid I9, usually with an underscore, hybrid underscore I9.
Mm-hmm.
And that actually comes from my streaming days because I was looking for like a story, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to be like a person who was like bringing fitness and gaming, like these two things that everybody thinks of as like opposite or opposing, like they don't fit well together. So I was the hybrid. I was the guy who plays video games and also like goes to the gym and plays sports. So I was the hybrid. So I called myself hybrid, and I9 just sounded cool. So it's hybrid underscore I9. And if you say it without the underscore, it's just hybrid I9, which is usually what my gamer tag and all my Twitter handle and all that stuff is. Before that, it was Sam Lugo, and that is Sam SAM. That's my first name, and then Lugo is Luis Gonzalez. So it was like my name broken down.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
But people kept mispronouncing it. Sam Luego, Sam Lego. I was like, all right, I'm done. I'm changing it.
Wow. That is actually pretty creative, you know, the hybrid. Like going back to your intro, you know, you're trying to put gaming and fitness together. That actually makes a lot of sense. All right, so let's get to the roots. Let's talk about the roots. So, how was your childhood?
A mess. That's the simplest way to say it. Yo, I told you I was gonna do prep, but I didn't do any.
Yeah, we had before we started, he had some camera difficulty.
Yeah. So you caught a little bit of the story. My single mom with 2 kids. it's just a lot of moving around, a lot of like following my mom because, you know, she's jumping from place to place, going from this job to that job. I went to like 4 different high schools. And yeah, it was a lot of moving. It was very unstable. It was a gypsy kind of lifestyle, and it taught me a lot about, you know, people. I think that's one of the things that I value about it the most is that like I have grown up around all different kinds of people, and I've seen all kinds of different experiences and backgrounds and settings. I've been, you know, I've lived with rich people, poor people, black people, white people. Like I'm all across the spectrum. Like I've seen everything, and I really value that. And it's taken me a while. Like I've had to learn how to build relationships because that was one of the bad things about it was that you move around so much, you start thinking that like making friends at school is a waste of time, or I'm not going to know this guy in 2 years, you know.
Hmm.
And it definitely took an impact on like that social development for me. Like I was like, it wasn't that I was an introvert, it was more that like I just didn't have the energy to like try. But then now, you know, I grew up and I'm out doing my own thing, and I'm starting to realize the importance of relationships because it's important to have a support system, a safety net, you know, a group of people that you can look to, people that you can hang out with and spend time with. That social aspect, humans just need that, you know. And when you don't, bad things can happen. My uncle, that's rough. I don't actually know if I want to get that deep into it, but
Yeah,
my
man, go there.
uncle,
That's the whole
my
point of
uncle.
this.
Oh, you want me to?
Yes, go.
All right. So my uncle was like super into drugs, prescription pills, and like just he was a fuck up. To put it plain and simple, he was a fuck up, and he lived with my grandpa, his father, and he basically was being taken care of by his father. And when my grandpa died, he just went. He took it like a dive. He spiraled, and my mom and my aunt were really mad at him because like he was like trying to take the inheritance and like, you know, throw it away on drugs. And he lost the house because he wasn't paying the mortgage. It wasn't a house, it was like a little condo in Florida where they retired.
Hmm.
And it all fell on him because he lived there, you know. And both the grandparents died, and now it's up to him to take on those responsibilities, and he totally dropped the ball and they lost the place. And then he spiraled out of control and got deep into drugs, and then he became homeless. And nobody knew, nobody talked to him, you know. He didn't keep in touch with anybody. You try to message him on Facebook or call him or whatever, and his phone would be disconnected. um, Nobody knew that he was going through trouble. Nobody knew that what was happening with him. And then a couple of months later we found out he died, and it was totally preventable. You know, it was totally preventable. I've got an extra couch. He could have called me, and you know, but he didn't have that support structure. He didn't maintain it. He didn't keep in touch with everybody. Nobody knew what was going on with him.
Hmm.
And you know, humans are tribal. We need each other. And he abandoned it. And I feel kind of guilty. Like I feel like maybe I could have done more to try to like find him and keep up with him and try to help him, but nobody even knew that he needed help. So yeah, that's that. That's that story.
So
Yeah.
why do you feel bad about the situation?
I guess because I feel guilty. Like if I would have tried to, what could I have done more? You know, could I have prevented it? You know, when I heard that he was going through, you know, when his father died and he started using again, and he was getting really bad about drugs, like, should I have reached out? You know, and now I'll never know the answer. You know, I'll never know what I could have been able to do. You know, like I said, I had a couch. He could have stayed with me. I had all the resources that he needed, and I didn't even know he needed them. You know,
Hmm.
and I feel like that's partly my responsibility to like keep up with him and know whether or not he's doing okay. And that's something I've learned through, you know, just through life. I've learned that I need to start keeping in touch with people better, for their sake and for my own. What are they going through? How are they doing? If I'm having trouble, you know, can I rely on you? When you're having trouble, I want you to know you got a place to be. You got a support system. Yeah.
Cool, man.
Damn, getting heavy early on. I'm
That's
sorry.
what we're here for, man. But you mentioned you in your childhood you moved around a lot. Why did you guys move
Yeah.
around so much?
I grew up really poor, really like below the poverty line. It was just my mom. A lot of the times it would be a one bedroom, and my mom would sleep on the couch, and me and my sister would take the bed. Um, and She didn't really have any skills or knowledge. She didn't go to school. She didn't go to college. So she spent most of her working life as like a waiter or cleaning pools. She did that for a little while. She got bit by a dog, so she stopped doing that. um, yeah, so it was always like single mom life. I had to take on more responsibility than a kid should when at a young age, and it was just really unstable. We'd bounce from place to place. Maybe we'd move there because of a boyfriend, or we'd move over here because of closer to my grandparents. We move over here because rent's cheaper. We move over here because that guy kicked us out because she missed too many payments. Just instability of not having financial security it's a killer.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So growing up, did you have any role models?
Nah, not at all.
So
No.
how'd you take all that, going through all that?
Uh, at the time when I was a kid, I don't think I realized. At some point I did, but it was a long time. I wasn't probably. I was 16 when I first started catching on to like this is fucked up and I need to do something about it.
Mm-hmm.
I was 16 when I got my first job. I moved out of my parents' house. I moved out of my mom's house because I was in high school. It was probably the most stable that I had been since we finally did eventually get to Florida when I was like in high school, like 14. The most stable that we had been, I was in the same school for a whole year. And then she started talking about moving somewhere else. And I was like, I can't keep doing this. I need to finish school. I need stability. Like this is not working. I'm making friends and then losing them. I finally have a job. I got a job at like 16, which is like the earliest that you could legally be hired. And I did other jobs. Like whenever I was younger, the first job I ever had, I was 7, and a friend of my stepfather needed, or no, I wasn't 7, I was probably like 10. A friend of my stepfather needed someone to go underneath the crawl space to help him with plumbing, and I was tiny. So
Okay.
he hired me he gave me like $50 to help him out with the job. That he was a plumber and I crawled underneath the house. But yeah, I was starting to like develop relationships and like get in exploring my hobbies. I started doing martial arts around the age of like 15, 16, and I just didn't want to go. She started talking about moving again, and I was like, I don't want to do it anymore. So I told my neighbor, his son went to the same karate class as me.
Mm-hmm.
I told him like, my mom's thinking about moving again. I don't want to do it. I'm tired of this shit. We're living with my uncle now and he's fucking selling drugs, and like I don't want to be a part of this shit anymore. I want to improve my life. And he was like, if your mom will let you, we have a home for you. You can stay with us. And I took him up on it. I was like, Mom, I'm moving in with the neighbor. I'm gonna stay here and finish high school. And she was supportive. She was like, all right, I understand. And her and my little sister left, um, which is also another area of life that I feel guilt for, that like I feel like I abandoned my little sister a little bit. And I lived with him and finished off school. And then that's around the time I joined the Navy. And there's more and more story after that.
Let's go back to your sister.
uh,
Talk about it.
um yeah, I guess. What for the guilty part? I guess because I saw that there was a change that needed to happen. I saw that this life was not good, and I
Mm-hmm.
saw that like I had the power to do something about it. But I felt guilty that I left her to live the life that I escaped. And she ended up dropping out of high school. She's doing great though. She lives in Austin actually. She moved here because she needed a place to stay, and I let her stay in my apartment like years later. This is like a couple of years ago from now. So But yeah, I let her stay here, and she liked Austin, and she found a place of her own, and she's living in Austin now. But she dropped out of high school. I think she got her GED, and I just felt bad that like I got to escape and I was able to get out of it, and she was still there. Yeah.
Yeah. Good to hear, man. So, how'd you get into karate?
Mm, my dad was a martial artist, and it was something I'd always wanted to do since I was a kid.
Hmm.
And my mom wouldn't let me because she was
Naturally.
like, no, no, you're gonna use it to beat up your little sister. Because in North Carolina, I used to pick on her a lot. So she's like, you're gonna use it to beat up your little sister. I'm not gonna take you there. I'm not gonna pay for that.
Yeah.
I was like, whatever. I'm crying and shit. And then eventually at some point she was like, oh, I think you're old enough. I think you're ready. You can make your own decision. Do you want to do it? Like, fuck yeah, I want to do it.
Okay.
So we finally got into it. Yeah. And I was doing that was my first experience with like combat sports, and then I got into wrestling. And then when I got older, I got into MMA, and now I do a lot of jujitsu. And then I discovered rock climbing through my sister, and I rock climb more than I do anything else now.
Why rock climb?
It's beautiful. It's so pure. It's just you up there. It's just you and your body and the rock. It's like active meditation. It's cleansing to do it. Yeah, it's amazing.
I have to try that sometime.
You
Yeah.
should.
I want to. Maybe we should link up in Austin. Take me to the spot you
let's
always
do
go
it.
to.
Yeah, I'm down. I actually go to a gym right now, like a rock climbing gym.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. Like, you do it like in a gym or like for real?
Yeah, a little bit of both. I definitely do it more in a gym. It's just a lot easier. You don't got to worry about like finding a spot and getting all the equipment set up and driving out there. You just go to the gym and everything's right there ready for you. Yeah.
That was fun. Yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
so yeah, for sure. We'll definitely link up and do that. So you mentioned that you stayed with your neighbor and you joined the Navy. Like, how did that lead up to that point?
So yeah, I was living with my neighbor. I took the ASVAB in high school. I was a junior in high school, and I took the ASVAB. I didn't know what I was doing. They were just like, go in here, take this test. I was like, okay. So I went in there. And they had like, it was the auditorium of the school. It was like a huge group of people that they had to take this test. And I don't know if they made me sign something or like if they told me that it was optional. I just remember them going, we're going over here and you're going to take this test. And I was like, sure. So I sat down, and I'm really serious about everything. Like I take everything I do really seriously. So even though I had no idea why I was taking it, I really fucking tried. And I got a 93 out of a possible 99 on the test.
Hey.
So there were recruiters talking to me after that.
Of course.
And I was blowing them off. I was like, I'm not talking to you. But I had a friend who was like, she was joining the Navy, and it was purely coincidence. I'm sure there was no forethought to like who's gonna go get me out of class, but she was the one who went and got me out of class to go talk to the recruiter. So she's my friend. I'm actually listening to her. So on the way to talk to this guy, she's like, just give it a chance. Just listen to what he has to say. I know you're not really interested, but just listen. I'm like, all right, whatever. I'll fucking hear what he has to say. So we got in there, and he was like, and I like I said, I come from a rough background. I moved around a lot. Like, I thought that I wasn't going to be able to get into college. My grades were bad because I was not paying attention to school. That was the least of my worries. So my grades were bad. I thought I wasn't going to get into college. I was actually at the time worrying about what I'm going to do when I graduate. So we go in there, and he's like, the money and the girls and the traveling, and whenever you get out, you're gonna be set for life because you're gonna have this like nuclear physics experience or whatever, and you're gonna get a job at a facility, a plant, and you're gonna be making 100K easy just for saying that you were in the Navy. And it just all started as shiny lights in my eyes, like, man, this sounds like a dream. Like, this is not anything that I could have ever imagined myself having. So yeah, I was like, all right, I think this might be an option for me. I think it might be one of the better options for me, So I did it, and I went in, and it was scary leading up to it, and I had cold feet like a couple of times, but my recruiter kept trying to, convince me that I was doing the right thing, and the family that I was living with was like super about it. They were so proud, and my mom was saying that she was proud. Now, actually, I talked to her over the week that I went down there. She was like, "I didn't give a shit. I didn't care if you went." But I thought at the time, I thought that like she was like really wanted me to go, and she was proud that I
Yeah.
was like changing my life, and so I felt like that pressure of like family and stuff to go in, and whenever I got there, I was like 17, and my mom had to sign off and everything. I went as soon as I graduated. I went, and I wasn't ready mentally. I was not prepared, and I went into depression, and I tried to kill myself. After boot camp, I went to my station in South Carolina, and I tried to kill myself. And the guy that I was living with found me and stopped me. I luckily had not gotten too far into the process.
Mm-hmm.
And I went and started seeing therapists, and they were like, "Yeah, you shouldn't be here," and they sent me home. Yeah, I was there for 10 months, and after that, there was one guy that like I went and like tried to talk to him, and he straight up was like, "Fuck you, you're not depressed, get over it." And yeah, yeah, dude, that shit was crazy. Yeah, and I was a kid, I was 17. No, I think by this time I had turned 18. But yeah, and so uh I did see a therapist, and I was going to meetings with him for a couple of months, and he said, "Yeah, you shouldn't be here, you should go home," and he signed the paper, and I got sent home. um yeah. That was my short military experience.
So what did you do when you got back?
When I got back, oh, before I get to that though, if anybody is thinking about going to the military, honestly, I think it's a fucking awesome thing. I think it's a really great opportunity, and I do not think that my experience should be indicative of anything that you could potentially see. I think that now, as I'm older, like I think that sometimes I actually think about going back. I'm fucking not gonna, but I think about it. But now that I'm older, like I just wasn't ready. I was young, and I think the military is a really good option for a certain type of person, and I'm just not that person. That's really what it comes down to. So if you're thinking about it and you think it's right for you, then do it. Don't take my experience as a sign that you should back out. Yeah.
I concur as well. Uh, Being an army vet, it's definitely not for everybody, but definitely don't feel pressured to do it, because a lot of what Sam went through, unfortunately, people don't get caught in time, and it happens. So if you feel like you really want to do it and you're ready for it, it's definitely a great opportunity, but just make sure you're level headed before you get into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, learn how to swim before you get thrown into deep waters. It could be rough.
I didn't know how to swim at all. I managed.
Yeah, man. All right, so you got out the Navy. What happened next?
I got out of the Navy, and damn, we're just going down the whole line. All right, well, maybe I should back up and give you the first 15 years.
I mean, whatever. This is your show, bro. Wherever you want to go.
We might get back to it. We might circle around, but I got out of the Navy, and I used my money to buy a car, and I got a job. I got a job at a restaurant as a barback, and I stayed with my grandparents, and they're super religious. They're Jehovah's Witnesses, so they're like super religious. And it was Miami, and I was a kid. I was 20. I had a job now, so I had money. I had freedom. I wanted to party, and they were not about it. And we would get into like shouting matches all the time. She'd be like, "How come you're getting home so late? Why are you going out? Where are you going?" And I'm like, "I'm 20. Shut up." Yeah, 20-year-olds. And so I started to feel like I was getting in their way, like I was a burden to them, like they were taking care of me and they didn't need to, and I needed to get out of the nest and go do my own thing,
Yeah.
And so that, coupled with I broke my foot, that was like a big turning point in my life. Was I broke my foot. I was doing some dumb shit on a wall. We went to go see a movie, and they had like this fucking wall that was like at an angle, so you could like run up it and get like super high and take like really cool photos without anybody knowing, because it looks like a flat wall, so it looks like you're like fucking jumping super high.
Yeah.
So we were like playing around, and like I was doing like Spider-Man poses on the wall and shit, and I jumped up. I'm like 15 feet up in the air, and that's how high you're getting as you like run up this wall.
Yeah.
And I'm like finished. I'm like, I don't really want to do it anymore. We took a bunch of photos, but they're egging me on, like, one more, just do one more. We got to get this last photo. The last fucking photo that I didn't want to do, that they egged me into. Yeah, right. I learned my lesson. Never ever fucking bend to peer pressure ever. That shit will literally change your life.
Yeah.
So I ran up the wall, and when I came down with all my weight on my right foot, and everything before this had been like a soft, secure landing on both feet. And I came down wrong. I landed on my right foot and I broke it, and it hurt like a bitch, but I didn't think it was broken because it didn't hurt like that bad. It just felt like really sore. So for 3 days I was walking around thinking that like it was just bruised or some shit.
3 days.
I went to my aunt's house, and she was like, "What the fuck are you doing? Go to the hospital." She's like yelling at me. I'm like, it's fine. It's fine. It's just bruised. She's like, it's not bruised. It's fucking broken. You need to go get an x-ray. So, and like, I didn't have money. Like you as a poor person, you don't think of going to the hospital or going to the doctor as an option. You just think like, I'll take some Advil and it'll be fine. Yeah. So I'm like, it'll be all right. Yeah. She's like, no, it won't be all right. You need to go to the hospital. So I went to 2 different hospitals in Miami, and both of them turned me away. One of them took the x-ray but refused to treat me because I didn't have insurance. So they took the x-ray. I found out it was actually broken, but nobody would take me and treat me because I didn't have insurance, which I think is illegal. Fuck you, Miami. Sorry, is that all right for you?
Yeah. Nah. Yo, do you think?
Not the whole city, just that hospital. If I remember the name, I'll tell you later. But yeah, so, and then my mom, she I don't remember where she was, but she showed up, and she was like driving me around to different hospitals, and we finally found a guy who was like running a private practice, and he agreed to do it. So he did it on credit, and he gave me a discount and lowered the deposit because I was a vet. So like that, therefore I'm more responsible, I guess. So
I guess.
Yeah. Nah, actually, we can circle back to that, but I actually do think I'm a way better person for going just through boot camp. Just through boot camp, dude. Not even like the whole 10 months or like what could have potentially happened for the 4 years. Like just getting through boot camp like changed who I am as a person.
Yep.
But yeah, so we finally found it, and we did it, and I got my foot fixed. But I spent all my savings that I had been saving up for this job for who knows what. But conveniently, it was like I had enough money to pay for this. So then after that, I was lounging around the house. I was back at my grandma's house. I have a broken foot, so I can't really move. I'm on pain meds, and I'm just like, what the fuck am I doing? I'm like, such a waste of life. Like, I'm not doing anything. I'm literally laying on the couch. I'm sucking up resources from my grandparents who did not ask for this. I need to get out of this house. I need to go do my own thing. Like, I can't keep being a burden to them. So I moved. I moved in with my half sister, her father. So we have the same mom but different dad. So it's her dad. I moved in with him, and when I was there, oh shit, I didn't even mention that part. My car fucking broke.
Car broke.
My car broke because I had a friend who wanted to drive it to fucking Fort Lauderdale, or no, it was further. It was like way up north. It was like a 4-hour drive because he wanted to go to some Comic-Con, and he didn't have a car. And he was like, bro, let's go. And I'm like, dude, I'm on pain meds. My foot's broke. I can't drive the vehicle. I don't want to go. And he's like, well, can I borrow your car? I'm like, yeah. So I gave him the keys, and I let him borrow the car, and he drove it like a fucking asshole. And the radiator blew. And he calls me, and he's like, yo, the car fucking broke down on the highway. And I'm like, what? I let you borrow my car and you break the shit. And then, but he called the tow truck. He paid for the tow truck to tow it back to my house. He ended up not going to the Comic-Con. And I was left with the broken car. and I felt bad asking him to pay for it. But thinking back to it, I probably should have.
Yeah.
But when I went down to this guy's house, my half sister's father, I lived with him, and I met this girl there whose father was a mechanic. And before that, I tried to take it to a mechanic that my grandpa knew. And my grandpa goes, "Oh, this guy's super great. He worked on my car and he did this thing. Take it to him. He'll do it super cheap." And so I take it to him and I pay the man $500 that he's going to switch out the radiator. And I keep going back, and he's finally ready, and he calls me in, and I get there, and he's like, "Hey, the radiator that I bought, it's blown. So I bought a bad one. So I need more money to fix your car." And I'm like, "What? I didn't buy the fucking radiator. I gave you the money in exchange for a completed work. Like, you buy the radiator."
What the hell?
Yeah. And he was like, I mean, I can't fix it if I don't have a working part. And I was like, I gave you money for a working part. You found a broken one. That's on you.
Yeah.
And he left the country.
Just like that.
I mean, who knows what else was going on in his life, but he left the country. So I lost my money. My car is still not fixed. Yeah.
Wow.
So when I moved back down to this guy's house, my half sister's father, his name is Javier. Maybe I should just call him by his name.
Javier.
His name is Javier. I meet this girl who lives in that neighborhood. Her father is a mechanic, and he hears the story, and he's like, "Damn, this is fucked up. Like, I feel bad for you. I wish I could help. You know what? I'll fix your car. You buy the part, I'll fix your car for free." So I did. I that was the last of my money. I paid him, and he fixed the car. And I started looking for jobs. I had no money, and I had a working vehicle, but no money for gas. I stopped paying insurance. I was driving it around illegally. And can they come for me for that?
I don't know. We'll find out.
So yeah, I had no money to the point, and this guy didn't keep food in the house. Like, his house was empty. There's nothing in there. He was he was like on another level. He was a Marine.
Mhm.
And I don't know if this has anything to do with it, but his like level of cleanliness was like, I'm very clean. Like, anyone will tell you, any of my family and my friend hates me because I'm just super clean. Everything has to be clean. This guy is like, I don't even know, like a dictator, like to the point that, like, I love him. I'm not saying anything bad about him, but the level of cleanliness that he is like beyond reasonable. To the point that, like, if my sisters would leave dirty dishes in the sink, he'd throw them away. And he'd be like, "Oh, you didn't wash the dish. I guess you don't want clean dishes." And he'd throw them away.
That's
So
one way to wash dishes, is just throwing them away.
But it taught them, you better do it. You better do it. And they would yell at me. They'd be like, "Clean your fucking dish." They'd yell at me, "Get in here. You left this dish in the sink." I'm like, "It's fine. I'll get it later." She's like, "No, you're going to get it right now. My dad's going to freak out." Like, yeah, it was nuts. And he was a substitute teacher. That was his job. So he didn't have a lot of money. So he didn't stock food. He fed himself, and that was it. So I lived in an empty house with no food. I had no job. I had no money. And at one point, I remember, like, for dinner, I went to Walgreens and I stole a bag of M&Ms. Like, that was my dinner. And I still tell that story. But I finally did get a job. I borrowed one of my friends' like suit jackets, and I got a job at an Express at the mall, the clothing store.
Yeah.
And I fucking hated that job, but I did it. And I remember, I think it probably had been like 3 months that I didn't have any money, and I was just like fucking like starving and trying to get by, like scraping whatever I could find. And I finally got this job, and I remember my first paycheck, my friend goes, do you want Starbucks? Do you want to go to Starbucks on your way to work? And I looked at her, and my instinct is, I don't have money. I looked at her and I was like, yeah, I do want to go to Starbucks. And we went to Starbucks, and I walked in and I swiped the card, and they gave me a coffee. and I fucking cried right there on the spot. I was like, damn, it's so good to like be able to have things, you know. It's good to be able to like I you know, have money again. You know, I can just swipe this piece of plastic and people will give me things. And it's like yeah, it's just really powerful. It was a really powerful moment. I still think about that a lot. And I wouldn't have gotten the job if it wasn't for her. She drove me around because my car was fixed now, but it sat in the it sat in the front lawn because I didn't have any money to pay for gas or insurance. So she drove me around. She's the one who drove me to the job interview. She drove me to work all the time. Um, I don't believe in self starters. There's no such thing.
Yeah.
No such thing. If you can't do it, like I said before, you need a tribe. You can't fucking do it. You need help. And whether you like it or not, whether you think it or not, you've had help every step of the way. You know, nobody just dropped you on the ground and said, "All right, go figure it out." Like people help you. You know. So yeah.
And there's people out there that'll help you. Like one of the things I had to learn is that don't be afraid to ask. Like
Yeah.
you'd be surprised. Like yeah, there's a lot of shit out there, but you'd be surprised how many good people there are out there.
Yeah.
And it'd
true
be the
story.
and it'll be the strangers that'll support you more than anybody else, which is even more surprising.
Yeah. But looking back on that now, like at the time I was a kid and I was going through shit and I was like, you know, disturbed and blah blah. Like, I mean, I wasn't like a crazy person, but you know, I was like beat up and like going through depression and like, you know, I was still dealing with the depression that had like started to grow from the military, which I think was like laying dormant in the military is just really what brought it out. And it took me a long time to like put it back away. It's gone now. I mean, I'm happy as a motherfucker now, but it took years to get there. I'm at the best point in my life right now. But yeah, looking back on it now after being happy and thinking about it logically from a point of, you know, clarity and like a good space, a good what do you call it? A good head, a level head. I'm looking back on it and I'm like, why didn't you just go back to your grandma's house? Why didn't you call somebody? Why didn't you blah blah blah, you know? But it's like you don't think about that at the time. I wanted to do it on my own. I didn't want to be a burden to anybody. And now I know, like, you know, I'm older and I just got back from a family trip. Like, they'll fucking they're there for me, and I'd be there for them, and it's not a burden. Yeah,
A good lesson for everybody to hear, man, is that it's like you said, dude. Like people need people, regardless of what you think. You can't do this shit on your own, guys. Like life is hard, of course, but there's people out there that understand that life is hard, and people like Sam and I, we've went through our own shit, our own battles, and if anybody comes up and asks for help, I mean, we're there to help out, and there's plenty more people out there, so don't go through this shit alone, guys.
yeah, hell yeah.
Definitely
Hear that. Hear that.
Yeah, for sure. So you did Express, so you worked there for a little while. So how'd you get from
Oh, the clothing store.
Yeah. So why'd you hate Express? Shout out to Express, by the way.
I'm not a retail person.
You know
bro.
what's funny?
I'm not a
Look,
person.
I'm wearing Express right now.
I hate you.
I'm literally wearing Express right now.
No, I'm not a retail person, dude. I can't do it.
Oh.
I can't deal with people's bullshit. Like, I'm not like confrontational. Like, I'm not gonna like say anything, but it makes me so mad, dude. The entitlement that people have. And Express was like one of the more expensive places. Well, I waited tables for like 6 years, but before that, before I like learned how to be patient and how to deal with people, that was like one of my first retail jobs. I was a bar back. You don't talk to people there. You just fucking talk to your bartender. You give them their supplies and you stay invisible otherwise. But whenever I got a job at Express, people will just ask the most ridiculous things, and I would get like social anxiety. I remember the first time they put me on the register, I was having trouble with the computer and I just started fucking sweating. I'm just like freaking out, man. And I think my manager saw it. She's like, come here, and she jumped in. There was only like 3 people in the line. I started freaking out, dude. I'm just not built for that. But I mean, you can learn anything, and I did learn, and now I'm really good like at people, you know. I'm good with people now.
You're good at people.
But, yeah.
I'm good at people.
I'm good at people. But yeah, at the time I was horrible at it, and I hated every second of that job. And I felt like the manager, like, I think because she thought, because like people have this like misconception, or I don't know if it's a misconception, but when people hear like military, they think that like you got to be a hard So I feel like my manager, because I used the military on my resume to like help me get the job, I feel like she treated me like ruder than everyone else. And I always got this like drill sergeant kind of vibe from her,
Mm-hmm.
and I hated it. I just wanted to get out of there.
You ever confront her
Yeah.
about it?
Nah, I was too young to deal with confrontation in a healthy way like that. You know, I would avoid the situation.
So
So
you
instead, I just quit. Yeah,
just like that. How long were you there?
like 3 months,
Oh,
and then I got a job at a restaurant, and that was much more fitting for my personality at the time. I went back to bar backing, and they loved me. I was a fucking monster at that job. I loved it.
how long were you there?
And then at the
Bar
bar
back?
doing
Yeah.
bar backing for at that restaurant, I was there probably a year and a half, and then they promoted me. And what they promoted me to, I hated that job. I hated the role that they put me in.
What was the promotion?
They promoted me to expediter, which
The
is
hell is
basically
that?
like, it's like the guy who stands at the window, and as tickets come in, you put them up, and you like tell the kitchen what they're cooking. You say, oh, I got a pizza just came in, or a sandwich just came in, or fire up this thing. And where's that appetizer? You're basically like the overseer of like the food distribution. So
Okay.
you watch the tickets as they come in, the orders as they come in, and you make sure that they go out on time. And that means communicating with the kitchen, communicating with the servers, communicating with management. It's definitely a job with a lot more responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
And they trusted me to do it, and I thought I was really good at it. But whenever there was one manager there who, whenever shit would start getting rough, she would tell everybody to step aside, and she would try to handle it. Which, I mean, if you're a manager, I guess that's what you do. But
Mm-hmm.
I felt myself and other people that I worked with, because it was like a team of like 4 or 5 of us. We would end up just standing there while she was trying to figure it out, and the stress level was just super high compared to bar backing. It was like exponentially higher. Um, and so I started realizing like I don't actually like doing this. I liked bar backing a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
And then I moved to another apartment that was further away. So my car, the trip to get to work was longer, and I started being late more often. And things just started to go downhill from there. And at some point, they were like, all right, we love you. We appreciate you being here. Job, but we have to let you go. You're late all the time. You obviously don't like what you're doing. Like, this isn't it anymore. We have to part ways.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, yeah.
So what was
And then
next?
I went to FIU, Florida International University. I got in. I had been trying to get into school because I knew after I left. Damn, I forgot we were doing a podcast. We're just like chatting right now.
That's literally what it is.
Where was I at? I left the military, and I had been trying to get into school for like 2 years,
Yeah.
but they kept like fucking up the paperwork. So you go in, and like, because they only have like a certain window of time that you're allowed to register, and every
Mm-hmm.
time I would go in, there'd be a new problem. I'd be like, oh, you're under 24, so you need your mom's paperwork. I'm like, oh, okay, fine. So I go find my mom, and she'd come in, and she'd like try to give her shit. And then, you need you need this address to prove that you're a resident to get in-state
Mm-hmm.
tuition.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd try to find the paperwork, and they'd be like, okay, well, this isn't from long enough ago. You need something that's from a year or more. And like I said, life was super unstable. I didn't keep that shit. So there was no way for me to prove that I lived there for so long. And then they were like, all right, well, what about your mom? And my mom is even worse than I am. She doesn't even have an address. So there was no documentation to provide. So for years, it was just battling the system, trying to get the right paperwork, trying to prove that I was in state, trying to fucking get financial aid, trying to blah, blah, blah. It was always a problem
Mm-hmm.
at Miami-Dade Community College. And but this was years ago. I don't know if it's better now. And then I went to FIU. My sister was like, you should just try to go to FIU, Florida International University. I went in there and I met this lady who she saw on my record that I was a vet, and she called me into her office and she was like, you know, my whole family is vets. Like they all went to the military in some way or form. I respect it a lot. I respect you for going, even though it was a short amount of time. And I'm just gonna push your paperwork through. And
Cool.
yeah, she pushed it through for me, and I got into school, and I had no idea what I was doing there.
So would
Because
you?
I had been focusing so much on getting there, and I'd been trying for so
Ah,
long
okay.
just to get there. I didn't know what I was gonna do once I got there.
That makes sense though.
So yeah, so I just went in as like undecided, and I just took whatever class sounded cool. I took the one semester that I was there, and we'll get into why I left later. Um, the one semester that I was there, I took public speaking, social choice mathematics, Spanish 1, psychology, and something else I forgot. Just random ass classes that I just
Mm-hmm.
thought sounded cool.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I remember there was a drug, I can't remember the name of it. It was a prescription drug that somebody was saying is like comparable to Adderall, but not Adderall. I don't remember what it was called. And they gave me one, and I had the like my brain just fucking started firing that day. And that day I started thinking about my life and thinking about what I want to do and who I want to be and how have I gotten to this point and blah blah, and what do I like, what am I passionate about? What do I want to provide to the world? And I realized I want to be a teacher. I need to be a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And I called my mom and I was like, Mom, I want to be a teacher. She goes, yeah, that's great. Be a teacher. My mom was like that my whole life. Whatever you want to do, whatever you want to do, go for it. Whatever you want to do. She was super relaxed, you know,
Yeah.
which
Real
is
quick.
great.
Real
Yeah,
quick.
go for it.
Wasn't
Yeah.
what was this drug?
I don't remember, dude. I don't remember what it's called. It was similar to Adderall. That's all I remember. It was somebody
Okay.
was taking it for ADD. I don't remember
Yeah.
the drug. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So anyway,
Yeah.
your mom. You told your
Something
mama.
with a K. It was with a K. It had a K in it. But whatever.
Yeah. But it sounded like that was like the
Um,
magic pill you needed.
yeah, it was interesting. It was definitely interesting. So I called my mom and she's like, cool. And my mom my whole life has been like super chill about everything, you know. She's been she's very like gypsy free. She's super into like spirituality, and like she does like psychic readings and stuff, and like she'll like she's super into horoscopes, and like she's all about that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So she's like very like, you learn on mistakes, you have free will, you know. She never tried to guide me or push me in any direction, and I feel like there's pros and cons to that.
Mm-hmm.
The pro is that like I was free to do whatever I wanted. I explored who I was as a person. I made my own mistakes. I grew. I learned how to be independent. I took care of myself from a very early age. And the con is I had no guidance, you know. Even if there was something that I was like destined for, something that she saw, that spark in me, that this is what he should be doing, I had no like early insertion into anything, you
Mm-hmm.
know. Like I think about it a lot, that if I would have gotten into sports when I was younger, that I'd probably be an athlete now. I'd probably be like on a college team for something, or like I'd be a pro fighter or like something like that, because I just have a passion for sports. But I didn't have the guidance or the support for it.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't try to push me in anything. And anyways, yeah, so I called her and I was like, yeah, I want to be a teacher. And she's like, oh, that's great, that sounds so nice. And from there, I found out I wanted to be a teacher. I started looking into it a little bit more, and I started dating this girl. When I was in high school, there was this girl that was like the high school crush. Like everybody liked this girl, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I thought I had no chance. So I just ignored her, because why would I even try? And years later, I'm back, I'm in college now, and we start talking again through a friend, reintroduced us. And she says, I'm like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go out on a limb and I'm gonna say it. Like, I had a crush on you in high school and I still kind of do. And she was like, oh, I had a crush on you too. Like, how come we never said anything? Blah blah.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was like, damn. I mean, we're here now. What do you want to do? Try it out. Let's see what happens. But she lived up in West Palm Beach, which is like, what would it be compared to if you live in? I guess it was like a 4-hour drive from where I was.
Okay.
She lived up in West Palm Beach, so we started dating and we tried to do like a long-term thing for a little while, and I'd like call her every time I got home and stuff. And we saw each other a couple of times in person, but it was never like an extended stay. And at some point, her dad left when she was young. Her dad starts contacting her again. Her dad is like, yo, I'm sorry that I left you. I want to reintroduce myself into your life. I want to be there for you. I want to be a part of your life. I want to take care of you. If you move to Houston, Texas, then I will pay for your school and you can live with me for free and I'll take care of you and we can rekindle that relationship and rebuild and blah, blah, blah. And for the position that she was in her life at that point, it was a no-brainer for her. She moved to Houston and she moved in with her dad. And like I said, I was fucking lost too. I was in school, but I didn't know why. I didn't know what I was studying. I was starting to figure it out, but I didn't really know. So, and I didn't have anything going on in Miami. I had family and stuff here, but I didn't feel like there was anything for me in Miami. I didn't feel like I was growing besides school. And like I said, I had no idea why I was even there. So she moves to Houston. And I was like, well, I mean, this is that dream girl from high school that like I finally got. I don't want to let it go so easily. Like, I'm going to move to Texas with you. And she goes, oh, you don't have to do that. That's crazy. And I'm like, nah, I mean, what else am I going to do? And she's like, all right, I mean, if you say so, if you think so. So I moved to Houston, Texas with $200 and one bag. And I lived in what do you call it? One of those like week extended stay hotels. I stayed there for a week. I gave them my $200 and I had to find a job. So I got a job at another restaurant.
There you go. Barback?
I was serving.
Okay.
I was serving. I got a job at another restaurant. I stayed at this extended stay hotel for a little while I tried to find a place. And I was living in Houston and she worked at a Nordstrom. And there was a cafe inside that Nordstrom. And that's where I got the job. She would come over and like see me at the hotel. She told her dad that I was just visiting and I met her dad and he barely knew me, but I was like, I was fucking, I don't even know, rose-colored glasses. I was like, everything's going to be fine and dandy. So I asked him for permission to like move in with her and like for his blessing or whatever. And he was like, I don't know you. Nah.
Damn.
And I was like, well, fuck you. I'm doing it anyways. So we moved in together. We got a place together and we worked at the same place and we had one car, hers. So we would drive together to work and back. And we hated each other. Absolutely hated each other, dude. It was not a good relationship. The long distance was the only reason it was working because we hardly talked.
Okay.
When we moved in together, it was horrible.
Huge twist.
We fought all the time. We were very unhappy. Both of us were very unhappy. And we thought it was because of the city. We thought it was because of Houston. So, because we were like, we lived way out in the fucking suburbs or whatever. Yeah. We drove like 2 hours to get to work and back. It was like we spent our whole day working. Our whole lives were about work. And we hardly spent any time together. And it was stressful. And we took it out on each other. And we fought all the time. The biggest fight we ever got into was about a cookie because she was mad that I ate it. She was like, "You don't respect my stuff. You don't go around touching other people's things. Blah blah blah." That cookie had been sitting on that shelf for like a fucking week and it hadn't been touched. I fucking threw it away. I'm tired of looking at this shit. Whatever. So we got into this huge fight about a cookie.
Well, you felt like you were there again, huh?
We got into this huge fight about a cookie and we realized something had to change. Like we need to break up, we need to change jobs, or we need to move or something. And at this place, everyone had been telling us you guys would love Austin. And I'm trying to figure out who I am. I'm trying to figure out what I want to be. I'm watching like a shit ton of TED Talks. It's because like I'm like,
TED
all right,
Talks
this is
are
what I'm
good.
gonna. TED Talks are good. On Netflix, they had like a thing. I don't remember what it was called, but it's gone now. But they had a thing for a period of time where it was like a series of TED Talks about the same topic. So, and it was so cool. I would go home. I would get home after work and I'd sit there and I'd watch. And I had a little notebook and I'd write down every talk that I liked. And I started like, you know, brainstorming. I started coming up with ideas. I started like realizing that like I'm really creative and like I'm really smart. Like I'm intelligent. I'm a problem solver. I'm starting to pick up on these things, and I'm writing down all these TED Talks. And I'm starting to notice a pattern. I love design. I love creativity. I love urban planning and like human evolution. I want to be an architect. This is what I'm figuring out. So I started doing research and I looked up like all the best schools. I looked up how much it would cost, and I did like a breakdown and in a notebook. I wonder if I have.
Yeah, that'd be good. Do you have it?
I think I do somewhere actually, but I don't want to. There's gonna be like 10 minutes of silence while I hunt it.
I mean, I could edit this. It's all good.
Yeah. All right. Hold up. I'm gonna go look for it.
All right. He's back with the book, ladies and gentlemen.
So there's like a whole bunch of stuff in here, like ideas and like brainstorming. Like I was like trying to find like inventions and stuff. Every time I had an idea, I would write it down. And I would just write down my thoughts. I've got a list of ideas here.
By the way, listeners, this is actually really good. I suggest everybody just write down ideas and thoughts and everything. It definitely helps. I do this myself. I got a whole...
Let me see it. Show it to me.
This is like 2 years. Hold on.
Hell yeah.
Like, look at this. Oh,
that's dope.
Like, all this.
Uh-huh.
Hold on. Yeah, dude, it's a lot. A lot of stuff. Like, all that. Oh, you can't even see it. Got all that.
No.
All that. All that. Yeah, dude.
I'm
in there too.
Screenshots of this later and steal all your ideas.
Oh, see, look, I even did graphs. Look at that. I even got artistic with it. Look at that shit.
Yo, you drew a graph 3D.
Yeah,
it's
3D graph.
Square.
There's a 3D graph, bro. Yeah. 3D graph.
Oh my god, dude.
I got into it. Yeah, man. It's got a lot of ideas in here that I'm gonna put out to the world. One step at a time, ladies and gentlemen. You'll see.
Yo, we'll talk about it a little bit, but at some point journaling does re-enter my, and it changes things a lot.
Journaling does change a lot. Yep.
So here it is. Here's where I start thinking about schools. I've got a page for some more inventions I came up with. I've got a list of the top 12 architecture schools in the country and where they are. Top rated. I started narrowing it down. And then here's where I start breaking down the costs of everything. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah, I can see it. Wait, hold on. Do that again. Do that again.
Do that again.
Ooh, yeah. There she is. Okay.
So I'm starting to like I need to plan finances because like I'm poor and shit. So I'm looking at like where am I gonna get in-state tuition? How much am I gonna get for the housing allowance? Because I still get a percentage of the GI Bill. Yep. And I'm doing all this math. And I'm narrowing it down. I'm figuring it out.
A lot of math.
I finally realize I need to go. I start narrowing it down by price, which ones are the cheapest. Mm-hmm. I finally realized the school. I start doing
there
like
it is.
Pros and cons lists.
Mm-hmm.
What do I need to get in there? Damn, dude, this shit is so.
By the way, guys, if you're listening to this on your podcast platforms, you can see all these notes if you go to the YouTube channel. It's live. You'll be able to see it.
I'm showing them to the camera.
Yeah.
And so I finally narrow it down to Austin, Texas.
Hey, good choice, my friend.
Yeah, I start narrowing it down to Austin, Texas. I start writing my essays. I've got them handwritten right here, my essays to apply to the school. And I got my first draft. Yo, this is nuts to look at. All right, anyways, so yeah, I figured out I want to go to Austin.
Yeah.
And everybody at the job that I'm working at is like, you would love Austin. Like, you're from Miami, you would love Austin. It's so hip and trendy and like cool, and there's stuff to do and people drink there and blah blah blah. So I'm like, all right. So me and this girl, we look for apartments online. We decide we're going to move to Austin. We pick one. She finds a job. Like, she gets hired online. She does the interview online. She tells them that we're moving to Austin. She gets hired. We find an apartment. We book that shit. We pack up a U-Haul. We move to Austin. When we get here, I got a job at a restaurant. And she got a job at a salon or something. And I started really enjoying like the city. I started like meeting people. I started like going out. I'm looking at school. I realized that it's going to be cheaper if I go to ACC first. So I start like trying to get into ACC. And but the relationship is still just as bad.
Damn.
And on top of that, she isn't making friends. She isn't eating because she's starting to get depressed. And I don't remember who made the final call, but I realized this relationship isn't going to work out. And it's not just about the city. It's we're not compatible. And her mom drove to Austin from Florida. They packed up a car and she moved back to Florida, and we broke up. But I stayed in Austin because I was building a life. I started putting the pieces together. I had a job. I was going to school.
How old were you?
And, this was 2013. I'm 28 now. How old was I?
I don't want to do math.
What year is it? 2019?
Yeah, something like that.
7?
I think it's
I was like 21.
Okay.
I was like 21, 22. Yeah, I was young and stupid, and I moved to Austin. And
nice to be young and stupid.
I've been here ever since. Yeah, dude, you make some. You're much more likely to take risks.
Of course. And that's when you can afford. Yeah, that's when you can afford to take risks, guys. Fuck. If you guys are young, take some damn risks. Don't be scared, and don't think about it too much. Shit ain't got to be perfect. No such thing as perfect.
That's true.
Just go in, dive in.
Yeah.
Be scared.
You got to have that. What's the word? You got to have that strength to push through the hard times to see the good. And nothing starts out golden, you know. For
real. And you be like, and along the process, when shit gets tough, you learn how tough you are, and how tough you can get. So a lot of, hardships are hard, but you learn more about yourself than the actual situation, which is always a huge factor.
So yeah, I'm going to ACC. I'm working at a restaurant. I move into this apartment with an actual meth head and his girlfriend.
An actual meth head
and his girlfriend. I meet but it's like a 4-bedroom. 1, 2, 3, 4-bedroom. It's a 3-floor unit. The top floor is more private. It has a bedroom and its own bathroom. That's where they stayed with their dog.
And their
meth. The middle floor, the second floor, and their meth. The second floor, the middle floor, I had a room, and this other guy, Mike, that I worked with at the restaurant, we found this place together and moved in together. We both lived on the second floor. And on the first floor, this guy that we never met before, but now he's like a really close friend, Nick, moved into the first floor. I kept going to ACC. Kept working in restaurants. I'm taking like 2 or 3 classes at a time, just trying to push through that core, because I want to do the core classes from ACC while it's cheap, and then when I get to UT and it's more expensive, I'll activate the GI Bill because it's based on percentage. So I'll get more money if I use it at UT. The housing allowance would have been the same, but how much they would have covered for the tuition costs is based on percentage. For me anyways, because I had a percentage. If you go through your full thing and you get your full GI Bill, it's 100%. It doesn't matter what school you go to. Up to a point. But whatever. I'm not the intelligence on that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ACC. I finally finished up my core. I apply to UT. I don't know shit about UT. I don't know anything about it. I mean, I do a little bit now, but at the time I knew nothing about UT. I didn't know what it had a reputation. I didn't know that it was like a good school. It was just the school that was down the street. Like that was, that it was right
Okay.
there.
Yeah.
I moved here to study architecture, and it happened to be close by, so I picked that one because I was in state, and it was a good school for what I was wanted to study. And I got in on my essays. They
Mm-hmm.
have a special circumstances essay. So I told them my story. It was much more brief than this. And I told them my story, and I got into the first 15 years, which we have not talked about on this podcast.
Part 2 coming
And
soon.
yeah, right. And I think I got in on my essays. I really do. 'Cause I had like a 3.56 GPA, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good, but I always felt like it could have been higher. I should have been higher if I was going to get into UT. So I got in, I got accepted, and my friend, the one that I told you we met on he was living on the first floor. This guy Nick, he lived here his whole life, and he heard I got into UT, and he's freaking out for me. Oh, I'm so happy for you! Holy shit, dude! I'm so jealous. Fuck you! I hate you. And I was like, why are you freaking out, dude? Calm down. And he goes, you got into UT. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to school. So what? He goes, it's UT, dude. It's like the Harvard of Texas. Like that's a huge deal. I've been trying to get into that school since I could apply to college, and I did not realize the importance of that. That
Okay.
like I got into like a really good school. That was never something I cared about. Like what I never was like, I'm gonna go to the best school in the country. Probably because I came from a poor background. I didn't ever think that was an option for me. So I never even like looked into it. But yeah, and now I realize it now after being there for a couple of years. Like it's interesting to be surrounded by the driven youth that goes there, and the intelligent and like hardworking professors. And I'm starting to get a little bit of that pride, man, that burnt orange pride a little bit. Like I want to buy a class ring and shit. That was something I was always against. Why would you spend so much money on this stupid thing because so you can tell people you went to that school? But like I kind of want one now.
You should get one, dude.
Yeah, so
Get
I
one,
got a
bro.
year left. I'm studying kinesiology. You're probably wondering what the fuck happened. You said you were going to architecture, now you're studying kinesiology.
Yeah.
At some point, I realized the urban planning was not for me.
The what?
So architecture, it turned into urban planning because I realized I don't want to do houses. I want to do like the whole city,
Okay.
which is urban planning. So I went to urban planning. That's in the liberal arts school, which was also easier to get into. So that helped. Architecture school was strict as fuck. The liberal arts school was not as strict. So I switched to urban planning. I got into the liberal arts school, and I'm starting to take these classes, and it's super interesting. I love this information, like hearing the history of like how cities are developed and learning about architecture and like just the evolution of human societies and civilizations and how they're laid out, and they're like it's nuts. And I start to go look for internships, and I realized that I went to the city of Austin urban planning like committee or whatever to look for an internship, and I just wasn't getting good vibes. People seemed like sad. Like it was like that 9 to 5 cubicle bullshit that like you tell yourself when you're a kid you never want to be that, you know? And that was the vibe I was getting. Everybody seemed like they were just showing up to work, and I was just like, damn, this is not the life I want to have, you know? And even if you had like this great idea, these awesome ideas about where you want to take the city and what you want to do for society, it needs to go through all this process and red tape and bureaucracy. And like, by the time it actually even starts to happen, you're probably dead. And I'm just like, I don't know, this isn't for me, man. I don't want to do this. And so I had a moment. I was starting to rock climb then. I went to the wall, and I sat on the floor, just like having like a little existential crisis. Like, what am I doing? I thought I was going to do this. What's happening? And I'm staring up at the wall, and I'm thinking, all right, let's think back a little bit. Stop stressing out so much. Stop overthinking it. You're trying to figure out what you want to do. So what do you want to do? What do you like? What is it that you want? What do you do? You know, when
What
you
do
have
you
no
do?
responsibilities, when you have no responsibilities, right? What do you do already? When you have no responsibilities, when you're purely doing something for the joy of it because that's your passion and you love doing it,
Mm-hmm.
what do you do? And I'm sitting right in front of it. I'm staring at the wall, fucking wondering what I enjoy. And I'm like, I love fitness. I love playing video games. Like I love play, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I love it. And that's what I want to do. So I started brainstorming, how am I going to turn that into a career?
And you actually bring up an interesting point where, again, where the listeners can relate is that, or can get some help with, is sometimes the answers to the biggest questions are literally right in front of you.
Yeah.
Like,
I was staring at it while I was asking the question.
yeah. So definitely put that in your guys' head, man. Like, don't overthink shit. Sometimes it's really in your head, in front of you. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
anyway, so you figure it out. Video games and
yeah.
fitness.
Yo, we haven't really been talking about video games too much. We'll go down the like line of history of video games for me after I catch you up. We're almost there. I promise, guys. I know it's been a journey. Thank you for coming along with us. So I realized I want to do something with fitness. I want to do something with gaming.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever you're thinking, well, do I want what's more likely to be a career? Do you go down the gaming road or do you go down the fitness road? And I chose the fitness road because that seemed like the obvious choice for like job security.
Mm-hmm.
And like, what am I going to switch my major to fucking what to do video games, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas kinesiology is a thing. I can switch to kinesiology and finish school. So I did some research, found out about kinesiology. I switched in. I started with exercise science because I thought it sounded cooler, but I realized I don't like doing research. I like to be out in the field. So I switched from exercise to applied movement science, which is basically just taking all this research that people are doing and applying it to whatever you can apply it to. And when I took a children's movement class, and somebody there noticed me and noticed that like I'm good at this and I'm passionate about this, and they told me about the certificate program to become a PE teacher. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I need to pick a minor anyways. Certificate will replace a minor. You need to have a minor or a certificate to graduate to get your degree. It's one of the requirements. And I was like, I need a minor or a certificate anyways. I mean, I this fitness stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
I'll go down this road. So I took a class, and I rediscovered my passion for teaching, which is why I mentioned that part way earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Years ago,
Yep.
my purpose in life was to teach, and it took me a long ass time to finally get to it because I kept pushing it away.
Mm-hmm.
I kept pushing it away. Teaching is, you know, they're not going to make enough money. They're not like valued in society, which is crazy.
Yeah.
You know, like why would I want to be a teacher? People look at teachers as like, if you can't do, you teach. You know, like there's all these like negative things that are associated with teaching. You know,
Mm-hmm.
but that's insane to me because they're raising society.
Yep.
They're educating society. They're like, I don't get why there's not more value placed on teachers. I don't know. It's a topic for another day.
Yeah,
We can
that's
get
a whole
super
different
political.
discussion.
We can
Yeah.
get super political about that. So
Let's not.
I decided I'm gonna do this, and I rediscovered my passion for teaching, and now I'm almost done. I got a year left. I'm gonna do.
Congrats,
I'm gonna
by
be
the
a
way.
PE teacher. Thank you. Yeah, I'm gonna be a PE teacher, and I've got like 4 different business ideas that I'm trying to work on. If none of them work out, I can always fall back on teaching, and I'll be totally happy with it. You know.
Cool.
And you know, all of the business ideas that I have involve teaching in some capacity, whether it's like being a personal trainer or being a coach or being a mentor or like being a business owner, and then like being a role model for your employees or your students. Like teaching is what I want to do. It's what I like, and it took me a long time to finally get it. You know.
Yeah, man. I'm happy you found that though. After like everything you just shared with us, man. Like,
Yeah,
it's a hell of a journey you went through, and you didn't even share the first 15 years. You didn't even share that. But shit, everything you went through, bro. I applaud you on your
Yeah,
On your
thanks for
human spirit,
fucking-
man. On the strength
thanks
of your
for
human spirit.
Thank you. Thank you for sticking with me while I went
Of
through the
course.
hour-long conversation of like,
It's all good, man. So, fitness is your thing. Teaching
yeah,
is your calling. How
yeah.
was video games part of this?
So we touched on it a little bit. The first game I ever played was Pac-Man, and then I started playing Mario. And yeah, and then gaming just stuck with me. The first game I ever got like into, like I skip school to do this shit. I fucking race home after school. Like I throw everything to the side. I'm abandoning my home. This is my passion. First game, Final Fantasy VIII.
Final Fantasy, baby.
Final
Yeah.
Fantasy VIII, dude. I just love the story, the characters, the art. It's incredible. And we're gonna get into that too, because I know we're
Yes,
gonna talk
sir.
about esports at some point, and I just gaming is so much more than esports. But yeah, I got super into Final Fantasy, and then Halo came out, Halo 1, and that was my first person shooter ever. We bought an Xbox and I played that shit, and I was obsessed. I wanted to play every level. I wanted to beat it on the highest difficulty. I wanted all the whole neighborhood. I wanted everybody to come over here so I could fucking whoop their ass. Like I wanted Halo. Like I wanted all the achievements. I was super competitive with that game. I played it all the time, and it was my brother's game. My older stepbrother bought it. It's so him and his friend could play, and I was the one always playing it, and I would beat his ass in it. He'd be like, damn, but you play this too much. I don't
You
want to play
got
with you."
good.
Yeah, I got good. And then Halo was Halo just evolved. Halo 2, Halo 3. I didn't play Halo 4. That's around when I stopped playing Halo and moved on to other stuff. I started playing online games. I wanted to play Final Fantasy online. Final Fantasy 11 when it came out. Yeah, I played Final Fantasy 9. I played Final Fantasy 10. Final Fantasy 11 comes out. I don't have internet. Fuck, give me the internet. Mom, give me the internet. Dad, give me the internet. Stepdad, give me the internet. I didn't call him dad. I called him Bobby. That was his name.
I didn't call him dad. Call him Bobby.
Yeah. So Bobby, give me the internet. Mom, give me like I want Final Fantasy 11. What do I have to do? Give me the chores. Give me the blah blah. I have to. And my stepdad had a list of chores on the refrigerator. If you do this, you get paid this amount of money. If you do this, you get paid this amount of money. If you don't do this, you don't get any money. You want shit, do the chores and get the money.
Fuck the money, just give me the internet.
So I needed the money to get the internet.
Yeah.
Because I didn't even have a PlayStation. I had to buy that myself. Yeah, he was like that. I value it now. At the time, I fucking hated him, but now it's like, oh, that's a really important lesson to teach, that like you have to work for what you get. Nobody's just gonna give you anything. A lot of life lessons today.
Of course.
So I did all the chores lists, and I found a loophole in the chores list. I found a loophole because one of the items on the list was if you wipe all the doorknobs, you get 25 cents per doorknob. Like clean them because like people are walking and disinfect them and stuff. 25 cents per doorknob. Per doorknob, you can do a handle, cabinet knob, a knob, any handle.
Okay.
So 25 cents each.
Got
So
it.
I ran through the house. It didn't say how many I could do or how often I could do them. So I ran through the house and just went in laps, fucking wiping. And I was like, Mom, I did it. Look, I showed her all the calculations. I'm like, look, I did penny. This is how long it took me. She goes, you did them multiple times? I'm like, yeah, because people were like moving around the house and stuff. You got to rewatch them. You got to do it again. I'm like trying to play it and shit. She's like, whatever. She didn't care. She wasn't about that list like my stepdad was. She was like, whatever. Yeah, I believe you. So then my stepdad gets home and she tells him like, oh, here's what he did. He wants this amount of money. He wants the PlayStation. And he goes, nah, you can't loophole it like that. You can't cheat the system like that. So he straight up said no. And I raged, dude. I took a broom and I went outside and I started fucking hitting the ground. And I broke the broom and I was yelling. And my mom's like, calm down. And I'm like, no, I did the fucking thing. It was nuts. My tantrum basically was like broke them, and they were like, whatever, just give it to them. So they bought me the PlayStation, and then I never got the internet though, so I never played Final Fantasy 11.
Wow. But what did you play when you got it?
When I got the PlayStation, I played the game it came with. I played Final Fantasy 9 and played Final Fantasy 10, and then we moved back to Florida, and I started playing online games. I discovered MMOs, and it changed my life.
Which MMO changed your life?
All of them, bro. I got obsessed with MMOs. I was playing them
Which
nonstop.
one?
The very first MMO I remember was called Repels. No, Silk Road Online. Silk Road Online. That was the first one. And there was like Korean MMOs that you could download and play for free, but they were like pay to win. So you had to, like, if you wanted the best shit, you had to give money to get like this fancy sword or whatever. So I just did the free thing and grinded it out hard as fuck, like for days, for weeks, for months, for hours. And I would avoid my friends. My friend would come over and knock on the window, and I'd pretend to be sleeping so he'd leave me alone and I could play this game. And I got super into it, dude. And I wrote like I actually have it in that notebook because I used to get super into it, and I'd write down all the like the stats on the equipment, and I'd like do calculations to like get the most stats for what I was trying to do and stuff, and I'd write it down in my notebook and like figure it all out. I got super into it. So I played Silk Road, and then I played Trickster, which was super fun. Trickster was so cute. Trickster was like an anime RPG, like a manga style. It was like all cute and stuff.
I've heard of it.
And nobody's heard of these games. They're all from like South Korea or something, and I just downloaded them for free.
How'd you find them?
I don't remember. I have no idea, dude. I don't know where I got them from.
Okay.
And then after Trickster, it was Repels. And then World of Warcraft came out. World of Warcraft came out, and I hated it. I hated on it so hard. I never played it. I just hated on it because everybody was saying it's the first MMO. It's gonna change the world. It's a revolutionary game. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I've been playing MMOs for the past 10 years. Yeah. World of Warcraft's not new. Yeah. So I like hated on it. I was like, fuck that. Like it's not taking the title. I'm not giving it that. I'm not even gonna attention. You play World of Warcraft, I don't even want to talk to you anymore. I was like super emotional about it. Yeah. And at some point I broke because one of my close friends is playing, and he was like, bro, just do it. Just do the free trial. Just play it. Quit being a bitch. Just do it. I was like, all right. Don't say bitch, by the way. It's not an appropriate term. Life lessons. So yeah. Life lessons. It's outdated. It's outdated, all right? This was like way back in like 2002 or some shit. So I started playing World of Warcraft, and I got into it. Like, and this was like, I'm out of school, like I'm working now, and I would like call out of work sick to go play World of Warcraft. I'd like set up raids and like ignore my girlfriend to like do raids and shit. And yeah, at some point I played it for like probably 2 years, and it consumed my life. And one day, I don't know, something clicked in my head. One day, something clicked in my head, and I'm sitting at the computer playing World of Warcraft. Oh, it was those daily quests. I got to max level, and they had the daily quests to try to keep people interested. So you wake up every day. I'd wake up every day like 8 a.m. thinking, oh, I need to go do my dailies. I'm not gonna get all the gold possible I can possibly get because I've skipped a day. And I would wake up and I got to do my dailies. I'd jump on the computer, I'd do my dailies, and then I'd go do whatever else I wanted to do. And I started realizing this is like a tedious thing. This is like a job. Like, why am I doing this?
A free job.
Yeah.
And they're making all the money.
It wasn't even fun anymore. Yeah, it wasn't even fun. It was the repetitive grind that I didn't want to do. And at some point in my brain, it just clicked, and I was like,
fuck this.
I'm not going to do this anymore. Yeah, I just uninstalled it, and I never played it again. And that was I didn't play video games for like 6 years.
Really? That was your breaking point?
I completely stopped gaming. Yeah. Wow. I completely stopped gaming. And then that's whenever I started doing martial arts. That's whenever I got a job. That's whenever I joined the Navy. And then got the express job, and I moved to Texas, and I moved to Austin, and then finally I'm in a settled place to where I have some free time and I've got some money because I got a job, and I'm like, I should start gaming again. This guy downstairs has an Xbox, and we played The Witcher 3, and that game was fucking amazing. I loved it so much.
Good game.
Yeah, so I played The Witcher 3, and I started getting back into video games, and I had a job now. I had some money. I had some spare time. I bought an Xbox, I bought a PlayStation and I started playing Destiny.
PlayStation better, but yeah.
I started playing Destiny, and I had dabbled here and there. Like I didn't go completely cold turkey, didn't touch shit for 6 years. I played a couple of things, like I jumped on Dark Souls, I played The Witcher 3, like, you know, but I didn't really get back into gaming until I started playing Destiny again. And I would just jam out and I would drink and I would, you know, sit on my couch and listen to music and play Destiny. And like I was a console gamer, and I just got super into it. Super fun, and I was more mature. I was able to do it responsibly, so that it didn't consume my life. I was able to enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
And Destiny 1 and then Destiny 2 came out, and I bought the like fancy PlayStation with like the decal on it. And then at some point I was like, I didn't have a job because I was going to school and I wanted to focus on school for this semester because my grades started slipping and I didn't want to, like, you know, take any chances of getting kicked out of UT or whatever.
Yeah.
So I quit my job and I started like trying to live off of some savings, and I needed money to pay rent. And I sold that PlayStation.
Yeah.
I sold that PlayStation a couple of years ago. I sold it on Craigslist, and I started, you know, getting back into work, getting back into life, getting back into school. And I met my current girlfriend.
Hey.
We've been together for 3 years,
Congrats.
and she has completely changed my life for the better in every possible way.
How so?
Oh, dude, we'll get into that after I finish off this thought.
Okay.
So I meet her, and we have life. Things are going amazing, and I found out about Fortnite, and I started playing Fortnite because it's a free game, and I bought a PlayStation again. So I started playing Fortnite. I got super into it. It was super fun. I loved playing with the kids that were on that shit. They were so funny, dude. I love kids. I just love kids. They're
Like
so
funny,
funny.
or like rage funny?
No, they were funny. Like the shit they
Okay.
would say just cracked me up. And then I found out about streaming, and Fortnite was free, and I thought that like I was good with kids, and like I wanted to get into teaching again, and like I'm a good role model. Like I should start streaming.
Mm-hmm.
And this is like content. Like these kids are funny as shit. Like they're the content. It's not even me. I'm just like the face, and I want to be the role model. And like they'd fight over dumb shit in the game, and I'd like cool them down and like talk them down and like teach them how to respect each other and stuff. And like that's what I wanted to be for the gaming world.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started streaming, and I streamed for like 2 years. I switched to PC. I started learning mouse and keyboard, which prior to this, the only time I ever used mouse and keyboard was for MMOs. So that was a transition. Yeah, that was a doozy. I'm getting a little better now, but I'm nowhere near pro. Like I wouldn't even call myself competitive. I suck. I'm a bot. So so yeah, I started doing that, and I now I have this kick-ass gaming PC, and I just play for fun. But I'd streamed for like probably 2 years, and it's finally started building some traction. And I realized I don't want to be an entertainer. I don't want to be the face. I want to be behind the scenes. I want to be out there like teaching people. And that's whenever I made the esports summer camp. That's whenever I got into LG, and I started learning about the business side of it, and like
What's LG?
esports scene. LG is Longhorn Gaming. It's the student led gaming org on UT campus, UT Austin campus.
Cool.
And yeah, I actually met this dude on, like, you know how they have those trucks, those like merch trucks that come to go to places
with the fancy decals on them and stuff. Yep.
Yeah, there was a Razor truck that came to UT.
Oh shit.
And this guy Austin Espinoza was out there taking photos, and he had an LG shirt. And I started talking to him and asked him about his camera and stuff, because I was learning about that stuff because of streaming. And we started like kind of getting to know each other. And he invited me to join Longhorn Gaming, which before this I didn't even know it existed. We're working on it. We need a presence. We're working on it. And at the time I was like trying to apply it to my streaming. So we met up, and I was trying to get him to do work for me, to help me out on the stream. And he wasn't interested, understandably. Nobody gives a fuck about you if you're a streamer. Like, you got to do that shit on your own until somebody starts caring. When you start getting big, that's when people start caring. But at the time when you're small, nobody cares. So it's like going to Hollywood and saying you're going to be an actor. Everybody's like, "Oh, that's cool," and then you start getting into some movies, and then people are like, "Oh, I knew that guy."
Yeah. It's usually how it works. Yeah. I lived with them for 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So at some point I finally stopped streaming, but I switched over to like trying to be on the business side of it. I contacted Austin and he needed help with the org, so I jumped in and became VP, and we did a lot together. We did like basically completely rebranded, completely transformed like the direction of the org and what it wants and what its goals are and how we're going to get there. And like we deemed it LG 2.0 because it's like a rebirth, you know, the Phoenix Rising. It's a completely new era for this org. And after I considered myself more of an advisor. So I would like tell him, look, you need to do this, you need to do that, blah, blah, blah. And like, I would help him like create the org chart and like figure out what's going where and blah, 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 and who you need to talk to and how is the school going to take notice and do we need varsity sponsorship, yes or no? If we do, how are we going to do it? And like, I was just like an advisor basically. And after it started to get like, it started to pick up steam. And Austin became the president, so he's the conductor of this train now. He doesn't need me so much as an advisor. I'm still talking to him whenever he needs it, but like I wait for him to contact me now. I took a step back and I went back to what I love. I went back to fitness and I became the health and wellness coach for the organization. So I handle mental health. I basically do like conflict mediation for the teams. I run the workout. If they need nutrition advice or like workout planning or anything like that, that's all me. And yeah, and that's where we're at now with LG. Yeah, we're trying to get varsity sponsorship so that the school officially recognizes this organization and like puts in equipment and helps us grow, because like there's a lot of potential there and we have no resources, we have no backing, we have no support. It's all student led. And now we're finally starting to get some attention from faculty and staff, and we're hoping to get varsity sponsorship and become like a real like UT org. And
a real UT org.
Yeah, like UT sponsored org, because right now Longhorn is not even
it's not even Longhorn,
the word Longhorn, we're not even supposed to be using that. Because UT has all these like
trademarks and copyrights.
Trademarks, yeah, exactly. The bull, the color, burnt orange, the format of like the orange on the white, orange on black, the name Longhorn, like all these symbols, like you can't use UT, like there's all this stuff. So the official name of the organization is Longhorn Gaming at UT Austin. If we called it Longhorn Gaming UT or UT Longhorn Gaming, then that's showing affiliation. That's showing that UT has sponsored us. That's showing that UT is behind us. And if we were to do something stupid and UT's name took a hit, that would be a huge deal. So you're not supposed to attach yourself too much to the university without their permission. And when they do finally give you permission and give you support and give you backing, then that's what's called an official college sponsored organization. Yeah. So that's where we're aiming right now. We're trying to get to that.
You mentioned your girlfriend, how it seemed like when you mentioned her, she was a very good impact in your life. So
yeah,
explain that.
She just got a butt. No, I'm just
she got a dookie and it poops. Oh shit, sorry.
All right, so we met on Tinder.
Romantic.
We met on Tinder, super romantic.
Romantic.
When she pulled up and I had for her and her parents like set us up. Nah, we
I was gonna say, whoa, okay.
I was fucking around, and people always think this part is a lie because like everybody's embarrassed about being on Tinder. So they're like, whenever somebody says that they were not actually using Tinder or they were fucking around on Tinder, they're like, okay. But I was genuinely just fucking around on Tinder because I just got out and I had just gotten out of a bad relationship probably like 6 to 8 months before this. And I realized like I've had like a pretty solid track record of bad relationships. I think I'm just gonna chill and just be me for a little bit. And so I stopped dating for a while and just worked on myself and did self-reflection and like what am I gonna be and who am I gonna be? How do I who I am? Because I mean, maybe I was the problem during all these relationships. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to know from my perspective, if I was a third person looking at it, I might be able to tell. But where are you going? He just wants to come say hi. So yeah, I had like a string of bad relationships. So I was like, I'm just gonna be single for a while, and I was messing around on Tinder, like trolling people. I was swiping right on everybody because I wanted to annoy as many people as possible.
Okay.
I was just being an asshole. I was just fucking around. I don't know, and then we matched, and her name was Naya Papaya on Tinder, and I was like, "What's do you like papaya?" Just fucking around to start the conversation, and she goes, "I fucking hate papaya." And I thought that was so funny, and I was like, "I think we should actually meet in real life." And she goes, "All right." So
it's like that. All right.
Yeah, I mean, we matched. That's what she was there for.
Yeah.
So we matched on Tinder, and I went to I took her to a coffee shop, and I took her to this cute little coffee shop over on Martin Luther King called Banu. Pretty sure that's what it's called. And I remember the first thing I thought was like, "Oh, this girl's got a butt." I scored, and then so we go to the coffee shop, and we're sitting down talking, and I'm just like, we're talking. I'm telling her like where I'm from and blah blah. And this lady comes up to us. This homeless lady comes up to us, and I see her approach us, but I don't think anything out of it. And then I turn when she gets really close to the table. I turn and she asks me for a lighter. Because at that time we smoked. Me and her both smoked cigarettes at that time. And I turned to look at this homeless lady, and she's wearing a shirt and nothing else. No pants or underwear on, just a shirt. So she's completely nude from the waist down with a short t-shirt on. And I'm like, okay, we got it crazy. Yeah, here's the lighter. You can have it. Get away from me as soon as possible. Like, so but she takes the lighter that I give her, and she starts just talking. I don't even remember about what, just talking nonsense. And then this the people inside Banu come out. They see her and they come out, and they're like kicking her away, and they're like, "Go away, go." And she's like, no, they have my lighter. She gave me back the lighter. And then she goes, they have my lighter. They won't give me back my lighter. And the women are like, is that her lighter? The people who work there are asking me, is that her lighter? And I'm like, no, this is my lighter. I just let her borrow it. And they were like, it's not your lighter. Get out of here. She goes, no, it's mine. And like, she started getting like really upset. So I gave her the lighter. And she walks off mumbling, and the people are all apologetic and stuff. I look down at the table, and my lighter is sitting right there on the table. I actually did have her lighter.
Wow.
And but yeah, that was just like that stupid thing that happened on your first date that makes it like extra memorable,
Yeah.
So we were just like laughing our asses off and like making fun of the woman, and fuck just happened, and it was just really fun. It was a great first date, and we kept seeing each other. And it's 3 years later, and I'm doing the thing soon. When's this airing? She's not gonna watch.
You don't know that?
Yeah, she might, but whatever. She already knows I'm doing it, so she doesn't know when though. I didn't tell you.
Yeah, you didn't say when, but she knows it's going. So you're gonna propose to her? Yeah, boy. Congratulations on that.
Yeah, man. It's been 3 years of fucking like Bliss. It's great. There's nothing but like growth and happiness. It's perfect.
You gonna invite me or what, bro? Because I'll come.
No.
Damn.
No.
Okay, it's cool.
No. We've actually been talking about where do we want to have it. But
So
no,
where
for
would you-
sure, yeah, I'm gonna invite you. I'll just fucking with you. But yeah, we're trying to figure out where to go because my family's in Miami and her family's in California, like two opposite ends of the United States. Where you put it in the one side, the other side's gonna get mad. Maybe we just do it in the middle, but then
Yeah.
everybody has to buy a plane ticket. So it's like, well, I mean, for the sake of cost. But then my cousin was like, no, don't worry about it. I mean, it's not that it's every individual person has to buy a ticket. I mean, they're gonna make you fly and you have to spend more money. I'm like,
Yeah.
"That's-
Make
So,
them
yeah,
come to you. Fuck. Or
we'll probably have it in Austin, just invite her family and stuff. And she wants a big wedding. Like we made a list on the plane of like everyone who we would invite. We made that list on the way here yesterday. I've got like maybe 30 people, like close family, not even like friends or like distant cousins or whatever. Just my immediate family, my aunts and my cousins, like 30 people. And then her family, like 80 people. And I'm like, fuck, it's gonna be huge. Yeah, this is gonna be a big ass wedding, and we haven't even gotten to friends yet. So we'll see. We'll probably send out invites to everybody, and then like if half of them show up, it'll still be a huge thing.
Yeah.
So,
for sure.
but yeah, over this weekend, I've really over this last week visiting Miami, and last year when I visited Miami, I've really starting to understand the value of family and having that support system, having that tribe, and having them all be there. And you know, it's just I love going back to Miami. I love seeing my family. I love them, and it's
Awesome,
great.
man.
Yeah.
Well, that was a hell of a first segment of character creation, man. That was awesome. Thank you for sharing, bro.
Of course, dude. I don't know. How much time do you have? Maybe that's what we need to be asking.
Don't worry about it.
I'll be here all day talking. All right.
I'm here all day too. Okay,
It's
cool.
gonna be
Let's
your
get it.
first 10-hour episode.
Hey, I'm down for it. I don't know if the listeners are. I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna put it out there.
Break it up into pieces.
Hey, if they want to hear it, they hear it. Cool.
Yeah, true.
I love
you can
them.
skip ahead. Put in timestamps.
Right. I love them if they do or don't. I still love them. All right, so here we go. Let's get to the fun part. You ready? So with every character creation, there's always a set of attributes.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm gonna give you a few characteristic traits, and you rank yourself 1 through 5, 5 being the highest. You ready?
Yeah, you didn't send that to me in the questions though.
Oh, you'll be all right though.
Yeah, we're good. We got this.
I can't give you everything. I gotta surprise you somehow.
Sure. You gotta throw me a curveball every now and then.
Okay.
They're all curveballs though, because I did no prep. I should have.
Yeah. So why you? Oh man.
Yeah,
Okay.
It doesn't matter. You're right.
Anyway,
let's go. Let's do it.
All right. First one, charisma.
10s across the board. What is it on the scale? 1 to 5?
1 to 5. Yeah, 5 being the highest.
1 to 5. Why 5?
Because
weird.
All right. Okay, princess, how you want it?
Shouldn't it be 1 to 10?
No, it's my show. It's 1 to 5.
All right, fine. 1 to 5. What was the first one?
Charisma.
I'm gonna go 5. I think I'm a smooth talker. Ooh. I think people listen to me when I speak, and I think I know what I'm talking about.
Ooh, okay. All right. Well, let's go to this next one. Boldness.
Elaborate.
Boldness. Like, how bold are you?
Elaborate. What do you mean?
I guess speaking your mind and not scared.
Oh, 5.
Why 5?
Because I say whatever the fuck I want. No, that's not true. I'm not. I do that in a way that, like, if it's polite. If it's like, I'm not scared to speak my mind or ask a question, but if I think something like, damn, like if someone's being rude to me, I will not say like, yo, that sucks, you should stop. Like, I'm not like that bold, but I am bold of like, I'm not scared to ask why. I'm not scared to ask questions. I'm not scared to dig deeper. Things that people think are taboo, like talking about how much money you make, talking about religion, talking about politics, I fly right through them. I don't mind asking those questions. I preface it all the time because I know that some people are, hesitant about those topics. I will say, like, you don't have to talk about this if you don't want to, but I'm curious, blah, 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 blah. And if they don't want to talk about it, then they should be able to, they should feel comfortable enough with me to say so, And if they think that I'm being rude in the way that I approached it, or they don't think that that's a question that should be asked, then I'll pick up on their discomfort, and I'll turn it off and go to a different topic. So I would say I'm bold in that I am not scared
in that
to
sense.
say things. Yeah.
Got you. Enthusiasm.
Enthusiasm. I think that definitely depends on what I'm doing. Enthusiasm in.
Are you generally enthusiastic?
Oh, I think so. I think that I just try to bring energy
What number?
and like, passion to everything I do. That one's a little tough because it's sort of based on perspective, and I have family who is loud as shit, so it's hard because like in my mind that's enthusiastic, like everything is fucking whoa, but for me like I'm more calm, so like maybe like a 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Optimism.
4.
Gratitude.
5.
What makes you so
Yeah.
grateful?
Just everything I've gone through, everything I've experienced, everything I've seen, all the people I've met, all the different backgrounds that exist, what's going on in the world today, and where I am in my life. Like I am incredibly grateful, and I understand that what I have is rare and valuable, and I should appreciate it. And I don't take anything for granted. Yeah.
Loyalty.
I think that depends. I think I give it. I will always give it first.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also quick to take it away if someone betrays it. Like employers is a good one. Like if someone asks me to do something, then someone else asks me to do like maybe something similar, if I'll stay loyal to the first person just because like they're the first person that asked me. I already gave my commitment to them. Like I have to stay loyal to this person. But then as soon as they like, show that they're not gonna pay me, or that they're gonna blah, or they're talking bad about me behind my back or putting me down or whatever, and it's not something that I feel is worth talking about and trying to work through, I'll move on. I'm quick to move on and do something better.
Patience.
5.
Why?
It's the only thing that I feel like I've gotten out of living. That's not true. That's not the only thing, but it's one of the most valuable things that I have gotten out of living in the city of Miami. You have to have patience there. If you don't have, you have 2 options. I told my girlfriend this when we were there, because sometimes people there are rude as shit, and sometimes people there are the nicest people you ever met in your life. And you don't know what you're going to get when you approach somebody, whether it be your waiter or the doorman at a club or a cash register lady at the CVS or the guy making your coffee. You have no idea what you're going to get. Some people, hello, how you doing? Oh my God. Oh my God, you guys are going to have a great time here tonight. Like, let me tell you this and that. I got a deal on this bottle of wine. You guys are comfortable? You guys good? That type of shit. Genuine hospitality, beautiful fucking love for humanity, that type of thing. And then someone else, the next person, you go to CVS. This has actually happened to me like while I was there. I walk up and before I even say what I want, she's got a little headpiece in her ear and she's like looking off to the distance. She's like fucking with a pimple on her face. She's like, what do you want? I'm like, what the fuck? Are you fucking with me? Are you on the phone? You're not talking to me, right? Like that headpiece phone. You got me. No, she was talking to me, man. Like what?
What do you want?
Yeah, exactly. Not even looking at me, dude. Yeah, so
savage.
You don't know what you're gonna get, and you have to be ready to have the patience, because when you get those people that are like that, you got 2 options. You either have patience and you just suck it up and you proceed with your life, with the exchange, whatever, or you take the other route and you lose your temper and you yell and you make a scene, and that's why they're like that in the first place, because people treat them like shit, so they fucking have this hatred in them. So I chose patience.
Confidence.
It depends on what I'm doing, but I would say as a general, just confidence in my abilities, confidence in where I'm going, confidence in the person and what I am. Shit, dude, that's tough. I don't want to just go 5s every word you say. Let me go 4.
Okay. Playfulness.
Humility 1. Playfulness.
Yeah.
Oh, that one's actually kind of low, to be honest with you. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. I'm super serious about everything I do. I'm good at identifying the role that I need to play,
Mm-hmm.
and if that role is playful, I can be playful. If
Okay.
that role is serious, I will take it seriously. Like with the kids, for example, I'm allowed to goof off and play, and I do, and I enjoy it, and that's like what I'm doing with my life. So I clearly have a joy in that.
Mm-hmm.
But running a business or going to a business meeting or talking to a potential investor or whatever, like I turn it on like serious.
Shyness.
Shyness, 0. No, not shy at all. I used to be for sure. I used to be super shy
What changed it?
in high school. The service industry, that's what changed it. 6 years of the service industry will open you up. Like just are more comfortable with people of all types, especially when you move around as much as I have in the city. Like you
Yep.
meet all kinds of people. Yeah.
It's actually good. It's actually good advice for anybody like that are just quote unquote introverted. Nah, just go get a job where you have to deal with people. Just a
Mhm.
part-time job. Just a
You
part-time
either
job.
learn or you run away. Pick one.
Yeah. It's pretty insane. Stubbornness.
I'd say 3. I'd say that the things that I'm truly passionate about are going to be really hard to change my mind on. But if you're good about it, if I can tell that you're an intelligent person who's like giving me real evidence, I'm willing to change my view in response to new information. I'm not so stuck in my ways that I ignore like truth.
Imagination.
I tie that in with creativity, imagination and creativity, unless creativity is another one later. Okay, all right. Imagination and creativity, then 5.
Why?
Genetics.
Genetics?
Yeah.
What's genetics got to do with it?
My whole family's creative. They all do. They just think outside the box. They're just not normal people, you know? They
In a
just,
good way.
yeah, in a good way. Yeah,
In a good
yeah.
way.
So usually.
Okay. Observant.
I think a 4, but my girlfriend would say a 2.
Why the difference?
I don't know. I feel like I pick up on things. I'm aware of my surroundings. Like I feel like I'm aware of like changes in my environment or changes people's body language or like stuff like that. But there are definitely times when I'll zone out and I won't see something that's right in front of my face, like a sign on the road.
A sign. A big old sign that's meant for you to see it, but I don't see it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Self-awareness.
That one's tricky.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's like a gray area, right? Like you think that this is what you see. I don't think that you can self-identify your level of self-awareness.
The fact that you said that shows your self-awareness.
Oh, all right. Well, fuck you.
See what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying?
I guess a high value then, 4 or 5.
You're self-aware that there's a gray area of self-awareness, and you're about to go into this. It's like you're self-aware, bro.
Yeah, it's like I don't know what I don't know. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
It's what number?
I mean, a 4, I think.
I'll give you.
I was gonna say 3, but you bumped it up a little bit with the comment.
Courage.
5. I'm not scared to try new things. I'm not scared to go out on a limb and take risks. I'm not scared to step to people who are stand up for what I believe in. Stop people from doing things that I disagree with. I'm always the guy who's going to say something if something's going on the bus. I'm the guy who's going to see something and say something. Yeah. I don't want to be another innocent bystander who just like horse blinders walks by while something's happening. I want to be, practice what you preach and like stand up for what you believe in and be the change. Yeah.
Critical thinking.
5.
Why?
Because the way that I think is very critical. I'm just kidding. Uh, I think I'm good at assessing. I think I'm good at assessing what's real and what's not, and like I look for evidence, and like I want more than just like someone say so. I want evidence. I want more information, and I will dig to find value in what people say instead of just like listening to everybody says. I think about even in school, like I think like, you know, how do I know that what these people are teaching me is actually like truth? How do I know that what they're teaching me is unbiased? Because you know they're a human being. The person who's teaching you is a human being. The people who wrote the books are human beings. I saw something over the other day about a thing in a book, a psychology book, that completely misrepresented research data. The data in the research, this was the site cited research for this quote. The research itself was saying that there is no correlation between video games and violence.
Okay.
But the quote in the psychology textbook said researchers have found a relationship between video games and violence. That relationship, which they did not specify, that the research actually found, was nothing. There is no relationship. But the quote says researchers have found a relationship between video games and violence, period. Some people think that video games lead to increased violence in adolescence. Didn't say who those people were. Didn't say that it was in the research. That's the quote that they put in a psychology textbook, and then they had the citation for the research paper. You go to the research paper says there's no relationship. In fact, it's usually beneficial. It actually lowers violence in some cases.
I think in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
Because I could personally say if I didn't find video games, yeah, I'd probably be in jail. In prison.
So it's like one of those things, like you got to read that shit and pick apart the wording and like think critically about like what are they saying, you know? Because they misrepresented the data. They intentionally phrased it that way to for you to think that like their video games increase violence. It's fucked up.
Fucked up indeed. Adventurous.
Not so much anymore. I would say 3 now.
Why not?
I'm just getting comfortable, stability. Like I feel like I used to be a lot more willing to just pack up and move on a whim because I was used to it, I guess. But now it's like I want to maintain the stability that I've created. I want to create a base for, you know, my kids and my family. I'm not as adventurous in that way. Like I want to be stable. I want a job. I want a house. I want to create a family. Yeah.
Forgiveness.
4.
Why not a 5?
4. Why not a 5? I don't forgive people for things that they can't control. So, you know, if someone does something bad to me, like there can be a process and I can talk it through and like we can work through that and I can forgive you and we can move on, but I don't forgive common human error and hypocrisy. I don't forgive like natural some things that are probably natural tendencies, but I believe we are better than that. And I don't forgive people for falling into those traps. I think humans are better than that and they know it and they should practice it. And every day that they don't is them neglecting their responsibilities.
Sensitivity.
That sounded kind of harsh.
No.
Sensitivity. Elaborate. Sensitivity to what?
How sensitive are you?
Like how riled up am I getting? common about me, or how aware am I to, like, how sensitive am I to other people's
Everything.
feelings? Yo,
Everything.
that's so vague. Four.
Okay.
I almost said three, but I
That's
changed
a
my
lot of
mind.
force. That's a lot of force.
Are you writing these down?
No, I don't need to.
Okay, good.
I'm recording.
How many fours do we got so far?
I think at least 3.
How many fives?
At least 3.
How many threes?
At least 2.
How many twos?
None.
A 1.
None.
0.
1.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
1 0.
I think you're pretty right about that.
Okay, so the last one, my friend.
All right.
Luck.
Luck is a hard one because you have to thing.
Can you say that again? You might kind of went out for a second.
I said luck is a hard one because you have to believe that it's actually a thing, and I think that I kind of do.
This is why I asked this.
Yeah, luck. I don't believe in, like, I think what people think luck is, what people see as luck when something happens and like, oh, you were so lucky. It's awareness of something happening and then having the drive and knowledge to take advantage of it. I think that's what luck is. Like, oh, you met this guy, that's so lucky. Oh, you got to this thing because you saw this. That's so lucky that those two things happened so close together. And it's like, yeah, there's some things, like, I could have tied my shoe and that guy would have walked past me. It's lucky that I was not doing that. There are some things that, like, maybe luck is what's the word, preordained or whatever. Like, it's this spiritual thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I think in most cases, what people think of as good luck is just you having the awareness to grab it when it's there and to know what to do with it. And a lot of people who are, less fortunate or less lucky, I guess, maybe aren't as good as that at that, at recognizing when they should take this opportunity, or recognizing when they should grab this thing, or recognizing when this thing presents itself and maybe they see it but they don't know what to do with it. Like, that's what I think unlucky is. Unless you're like knocking shit off counters and you're like, I'm so unlucky, then, like, okay.
Unless that, yeah. Okay. So we went through character creation. You've set your own attributes. Now you're off to your main quest.
Yeah. Oh, wait, I didn't give luck a number, though.
So what is your luck then? My bad.
3. Solid, right in the middle. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe that's too logical. Maybe I'm too critical thinking about this.
You're you. That's all that matters.
Yeah. All right.
Cool. But like I said,
what about you? What about you?
No. We'll save that for another episode.
What do you mean?
We'll save that for an episode. By the way, this man gave me an idea where, like, I should do an episode on me. So I think I might do that. I got to figure out how I'm going to do it. But I'm going to do it.
You should ask yourself, interview yourself.
I don't know. You think,
mom, where are you living at right now? Yo, do your mom. Ask your mom. Get your mom to do the questions. That would be amazing, dude. She's probably going to have so much to say. I mean, unless you don't want that, then, like, whatever. But, like,
I'm trying to keep my mom out of the public. I don't want anybody knowing who she is. I like to keep my family life private.
Yeah.
So
Fair.
Oh shit. So, yeah.
I'll do it.
You'll do it?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll send you the. We'll figure it out. But anyway, so yeah, you did your character creation. You set your attributes. Now you're off to your main quest. So what is the main quest that you're working on?
My main quest is I hope you can't hear me making noises with my mouth right now. That would be gross. Can't. Okay, good. Condenser mic is the dope, yeah. My main quest would be to take what's been given to me and build the foundation so that the next generation can have a solid footing to build what they want.
What exactly?
Yeah. Whatever they want. whatever they want. Because I was given a plot of land. I'm speaking in metaphors.
Okay.
And I had to go around poking the dirt and digging up holes and standing the layout and figuring my shit out. I finally feel like I'm like finding a spot. I'm leveling out the ground and I need to pour the foundation. And then the next generation after me will have something to build on.
Nice. Why this though? Why
It's the
set out?
only it's
Why set out to
eh?
this quest? Why set out on this quest?
Because I mean, I'm gonna pursue what I think is reasonable for what I'm given.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't build. You need the right materials to build. You know what you're trying to make. You need resources to build. You know your vision.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't given the resources. So my goal is to gather the resources so that the next generation can build what they want. Like I had to figure it out on my own. I'm a first generation college student. Like my parents didn't give me much, except for love, which I value immensely. Um, and I want my kids to have more options, more resources, more money, especially to have the freedom to do the things that I wasn't able to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that doesn't mean that I'm going to try to push them into something like, oh, whenever I was a kid, I wanted to be a pro MMA fighter. So you better go fucking learn how to fight. You know, like it's more that like when I was a kid, I had these ideas of what I would be. I had no guidance or resources to actually make that happen or to even think that it was a possibility. So I want to make sure that is my main quest, is to make sure that my kids and the next generation has the freedom and the resources and believes that they can actually do whatever it is that they're setting out to.
Good answer. So with
Yeah.
every main quest, there's always these side quests that help benefit the main quest. What are some side
Okay.
quests that
Okay. All
you're
right. So
doing?
specifics. Okay. All right. So if
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna go kill the dragon, we need to go get the, for example. All right. So
Yeah.
we need
So
to.
what are some side quests that you're working on to influence this main
Um.
quest?
I think I'm trying to start a business. I'm getting a degree. I'm certified to teach. Um, those things. If none of the businesses take off, then I can still teach, and that's never going to go away, and I can do that.
What are the businesses you want to try opening or run?
They all involve gaming and sports, gaming and fitness, gaming and wellness. I think that, holy shit, that's super interesting. Um, I think that the next generation of gamers, the ones that are growing up now, they're going to do things with this world that we can't even imagine right now. I
Agreed.
think that I think that what they're gonna do is like nothing we do is gonna compare. So I want to build the foundation for them
Mm-hmm.
to have what they need to make it a reality.
You
And
plan
those
on
all those businesses rely are centered around that idea of helping them develop and giving them resources, giving them platforms, giving them opportunity. Yeah.
do you plan on having some kind of facility that integrates these
Yeah,
two?
yeah, yeah. So the big one, I mean, there's a couple. The big one is a facility that is dedicated to gaming and fitness
Okay.
and tying those two worlds together so that it operates sort of like a gym membership where like you pay a monthly fee and you come in and you have access to all this equipment. And my passions are gaming and fitness, gaming and sports, athletics. I like to rock climb. I like to do martial arts. I used to skateboard when I was a kid. I used to play soccer when I was a kid. I love moving. I love play. I love that freedom. You know, I love losing myself, and like I love getting all the like getting those like blinders of like that focus, that
Mhm.
like flow state of like being involved in like something so much, you know, being so involved, so engulfed in this thing, and in your mission and your goal of like whether it's playing a sport or climbing a wall or playing a video game or whatever. That flow state is just bliss, and I think people need to reignite that passion, to just enjoy themselves. Just go do something just for the sake of you like it. Go do
Mhm.
something just for the sake of the enjoyment of that experience, you know?
Mhm.
It's cleansing. Like I said about rock climbing, it's cleansing. It's important. And people need good role models to do it in a productive way, you know? Like with World of Warcraft, it consumed my life. I had no role models. I had no Twitch streamers that I could look up to and say like, this guy is helping me develop healthy habits. And you know, I had no parents who were saying like, get off the game, like you shouldn't be playing that shit for 10 hours a day, like, you know. It's providing a space for people to really become absorbed, really consume themselves in their passions in play. And for me, it's gaming and fitness, and I think that I'm not alone. So I want to open a facility for people like me, people who want to do those things.
That's awesome, man. All
That was
right.
a lot. I need to
Nah.
work on my pitch, bro. I need an elevator pitch. Let me nail it down to 15 seconds. Are you ready? I'm going to open America's first gaming and sports facility. No, they probably already have one somewhere, fucking California somewhere.
I mean, have you researched it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so they
Yeah, I
do have
haven't been
one?
able to find anything. I found
Oh.
one. I found one, but it's like gaming is like an accident in the background. It doesn't. It's not a focus.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So they're just kind of putting gaming in there to help
Right.
use as a
Exactly.
selling point
Exactly. They just want to sell the
to
word
leverage the
esports.
fad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez, man. People are weird. All right,
Yeah.
so your main quest, your side quest, my friend.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, with every quest, there's always a final boss.
Okay.
What is your final boss you wish to conquer?
Um, finances, money.
Finances,
Yeah.
money.
My final boss is creating money sources to actually do what it is that I'm trying to do. That's my final boss. I need to defeat this money monster that's holding me back. Because anybody can have an idea, you know, and you can have the idea exactly what to do, and you're the best person on the planet to do it, but you don't have no money, no connections, no network. You're not going to do it.
Can't do
Humans are
it.
tribal.
Yeah,
Yep.
can't do it.
Yep.
So you saying money just for you or to help give more opportunities to other people with these ideas?
I mean, I guess mostly for me, so that I can open the businesses, and then through that is the philanthropy. Is that, you know, the through opening these facilities, I'm providing opportunity and platforms for people.
Awesome. All right, my
Yeah.
friend. You conquer your final boss, you figure it out, and then
Okay.
it hits game over.
Yeah.
What's the kind of impact you wish to leave when somebody opens up your save file?
Just to push through, never give up, drive, you know, really find what it is that gets you going and chase it. Don't fall into the trap of being a robot. Be a human. Find your passion, pursue it, and improve yourself as much as possible.
Good answer, my friend. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Where can people find you?
All right, listen up. You ready?
I think they're ready.
Hybrid underscore I9. Hybrid underscore I9. Hybrid I9. Hybrid I9.
Where on what on what?
I9 I9 like the processor? Yes, I9 like the processor. What happens when the I11 comes out? You're gonna be true. I'll change it
You
to
gotta change your name to
I11.
I11.
Yeah.
Yeah, but on what platform?
I mostly use Twitter and LinkedIn.
Okay.
I'll be honest. I got super like into privacy and like data security and stuff, and I deleted my Facebook, I deleted my Instagram. I never was into Snapchat, although I tried a couple of times. I'm not really into TikTok. I'm not feeling it. I know people say that it's the next big thing, but I just don't see it. Um, who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's gonna be huge, and I'm gonna eat these words. But yeah, I feel like it's money laundering. It's fake. It's what's the word? It's all created. It's fabricated. The man, I'm getting into some shit here. Let me stop before I go too far down this rabbit hole.
Oh man. All right. Well, I got where people can find you. Do you have in case anybody wants to reach out and help influence your vision, where can you got a business email?
If you want to, if you're for real, and that's a key word, if you're for real, right? I get a lot of emails. I don't want to have to read your thing and then you don't do shit for 2 years. So if you're for real, you can email me at my email address, samuel.lewis@utexas.edu. And you can also message me on Twitter. DMs are open. If they're not, just follow me, whatever. And if and you can find me on LinkedIn, Hybrid I9, Samuel Gonzalez.
I'd be
My
sure to
picture
put
has me with my picture has me with long hair though.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna use that profile pic for the thumbnail, so
Okay.
I'm gonna need you to send that to me after that.
All right, I got you.
Well, Sam, thank you so much for sharing your story. Thank you for taking the time to come in here, my friend. Thank you so much for accepting this invitation. It was awesome,
honestly, bro. Honestly, I enjoyed it a lot. Thank you so much for having me on, dude. Thank you for giving me the platform to tell my story and hopefully have an influence in somebody's life.
Very well said. Well, guys, gamers, there you have it. You can tell by this man's story that he has a lot of passion for what he's learned and the things that he's gone through, that he's going to leverage that into the gaming and fitness industry. Like he said it himself, he's a hybrid. It is a little rare, but I'm pretty sure there's more out there. And if you are one of those, please feel free. Actually, contact this guy. Whether how little or how big it is, contact this guy.
I'm also looking for coaches.
Looking for coaches. Looking for coaches, guys. If you made it this far, it's the longest podcast I've done so far. You're the OGs. You're the real ones.
And if you didn't make it this far, you're not going to hear it, but fuck you.
All right, guys. This is your boy, Gold Lion. Getting out of here. Stay happy, stay healthy, and most of all, gamers, stay golden. Much love. Yup!